The ghost of Courtroom 4B. They called her a whispered legend echoing through the hallowed, often cold, halls of justice. Evelyn Morris, a woman of 62 years, carried the weight of decades in her posture, her silver-streaked hair neatly tucked beneath a worn navy cap. She was the courthouse janitor, an unseen but ever-present phantom, her days spent scrubbing away the grime that clung to polished brass and mopping up the messes, both literal and figurative, no one else dared to acknowledge. For nearly 3 decades, she had been a silent witness to countless lives irrevocably altered within these very walls. Each swept hall, each gleaming brass handle, every meticulously mopped marble floor bore the silent imprint of human drama, of shattered dreams and fleeting triumphs. Before you delve into the shadows of Courtroom 4B, consider subscribing to Dark Side of Luna for more gripping tales from the hidden corners of justice and beyond. Every morning, long before the first hint of dawn painted the sky in hues of soft gray and pale rose, Evelyn arrived. The city outside still held its breath, a vast canvas of concrete and glass thick with the promise of a new day and the untold weight of its secrets. With a key smooth and worn from countless turns and silent locks, she unlatched the courthouse's heavy, imposing doors. Her footsteps, soft and rhythmic, were the only sound echoing through the empty corridors, a solitary symphony as she meticulously prepared the chambers that would soon thrum with power, with tension, and with the life-altering pronouncements of fate. Evelyn knew this place intimately, not from textbooks or a prestigious law degree, but from a profound, visceral understanding gleaned from years of listening, really listening, to the frantic whispers behind closed doors, the hushed arguments in the hallways, and the unsettling patterns that seemed to repeat, cycle after relentless cycle, hidden in plain sight. A fateful encounter, it was the case of Jamal Reed that shattered Evelyn's quiet existence, pulling her from the periphery into the very heart of the courthouse's darker machinations. Jamal, a shy, polite 19-year-old, was a familiar, almost comforting face in the courthouse, often stopping by to visit his public defender, Miss Tran. He would offer Evelyn a quiet smile, a nod that conveyed a wordless thank you, small gestures that resonated deeply with her. He was a scholarship student, brimming with dreams of a future in engineering, a beacon of hope and promise for their often struggling neighborhood. But the day Judge Harold Beckett sentenced him to 15 years for a robbery he adamantly denied committing, Evelyn's world tilted on its axis, a silent earthquake beneath her feet. She vividly recalled the judge's cold, impassive eyes, the clipped, unforgiving tone that left no room for mercy, crushing any flicker of hope. She remembered the sight of Jamal's broken spirit, his head bowed in defeat as the gavel's final, resounding blow sealed his devastating fate. An unsettling unease, a cold dread that felt like a physical weight, settled deep in her bones, a premonition of something deeply, terribly wrong. Weeks before that devastating verdict, Evelyn had inadvertently stumbled upon a secret, a fragment of conversation that would forever alter her path. Late one evening, as she meticulously polished the brass outside Judge Beckett's chambers, a snippet of a phone call drifted out, chilling her to the core. "I want it handled. The kid's not important. The DA wants a win, and we get the courthouse contract." Beckett's voice, though low, was sharp, devoid of empathy, and laced with an undeniable malice. In that moment, the disparate pieces of the puzzle clicked into place within Evelyn's mind with an alarming clarity. Jamal was a mere pawn in a game far larger and more insidious than his alleged crime. The Delancey Group, a colossal construction company, was aggressively maneuvering to secure a highly lucrative courthouse renovation contract. The motive was clear, sickening in its simplicity: convict the boy. Clear the way, seal the deal. The cynical ease of it all made Evelyn's heart ache with a profound, suffocating sorrow. The weight of a secret, she wrestled with the crushing weight of fear and self-doubt. What could a simple janitor, an invisible presence in a world of powerful men and complex legal jargon, possibly hope to achieve against a corrupt judge and powerful, entrenched corporations? Her daily struggles, the persistent ache in her knees from years of scrubbing, the constant, gnawing battle to make ends meet, the silent dignity with which she carried her existence, all seemed to amplify her insignificance in the face of such a formidable adversary. The courthouse, usually just a place of quiet, dignified work, now loomed as a cold, oppressive fortress of power, its marble halls echoing with unseen deals and unspoken threats. Yet amidst the despair, a stubborn flicker of conviction remained, stubbornly refusing to be extinguished. It was that flicker that ignited into a searing, undeniable resolve when she discovered a burnt fax, discarded in a waste bin, bearing the damning words, confirmed transfer of campaign donation from Delancey Group. In that moment, Evelyn knew with absolute certainty that she could not and would not remain silent. The burnt edges of the paper felt like a burning conviction in her hand. The next day, with trembling hands but a spirit forged anew by conviction, Evelyn made the call. She reached Jamal's lawyer, Ms. Tran, a young, earnest public defender who still believed in the ideals of justice and presented the irrefutable evidence. Preparing for her testimony was a crucible of tension, a daily struggle against rising anxieties. The weight of potential intimidation, the pervasive fear of retribution from powerful individuals loomed large. Every passing day was a battle against her own internal anxieties, a quiet defiance against the immense forces arrayed against her. There were sleepless nights, haunted by what-ifs and worst-case scenarios, but each morning, Evelyn rose, fortified by her unwavering belief in Jamal's innocence and the truth. She practiced what she would say, her voice soft but firm, rehearsing in the empty courtroom she cleaned, the words gaining strength with each quiet utterance. Yet when the day finally arrived, Evelyn walked into that bustling courtroom, not as an invisible janitor, but as a beacon of truth, her quiet dignity commanding attention. Testifying was terrifying, every fiber of her being screaming at her to flee, to retreat into the shadows she knew so well. But Evelyn stood tall, her voice, though measured, was clear and unwavering, cutting through the murmurs like a scalpel. Her courtroom testimony was nothing short of electric. She spoke not only of the damning facts, but of a system, broken and biased, that routinely overlooked and discarded people like Jamal and herself, people from the margins who often bore the brunt of its failings. Her words, imbued with the quiet dignity and hard-won wisdom of a lifetime spent observing the myriad injustices of the world, pierced through the hushed courtroom silence, resonating with an undeniable power that even the most cynical couldn't ignore. Justice prevails one by one. The judge's carefully constructed empire began to crumble under the weight of Evelyn's truth. The carefully woven web of deceit, of backroom deals and political favors, unraveled under the glaring, uncompromising light of her honesty. Jamal's conviction was swiftly overturned, a wave of palpable relief washing over the courtroom as justice, long delayed and almost denied, finally prevailed. The victory was not just for Jamal, a young man given a second chance at a life almost stolen, but for every forgotten voice, every unseen individual who had been crushed and dismissed by the system. Evelyn, the woman once known only as the ghost of Courtroom 4B, quietly returned to her mop and bucket, to the familiar rhythms of her daily work. But now, something profound had shifted. People no longer saw through her. They saw her. The whispers in the hallway were no longer about her invisibility, but about her unwavering courage, her quiet strength. She was no longer just the janitor. She was a hero, a quiet force who had, with immense bravery and a stubborn belief in what was right, rewritten the narrative of a broken system. Her triumphant stand had not only freed an innocent boy, but had also illuminated the profound power of a single, steadfast voice against the might of corruption, proving that even the most overlooked among us can be the unexpected architects of profound and lasting change. What other unsung heroes do you think walk among us, their quiet acts shaping the world in ways we rarely see?